Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Susan. I'm one of the chairs for the Advocacy Council. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes here, and please excuse the noise in the background. I'm actually at Universal Studios in Florida, so I will put myself on mute when I'm not speaking. Okay, so we're about 1 minute after 11 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock California time. If you guys don't mind, but we'll give it maybe one more minute or so. A couple more people joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. If you're not actually speaking, if you have everybody put themselves on mute, there's some static in the background. And again, I apologize for any background noise. I'm actually at, like I said, Universal Studios in Florida, so taking a couple days off. I have a foreign exchange student from Spain, so I'm trying to share a little bit of the United States. Mayor Moy, thank you for joining us this morning. Greatly appreciate you presenting today.
Well, thank you for having me. Pardon me. I'm really honored to be here. I'm honored to be in Fairfield and where I am right now, and with the folks that I work with, the council, my colleagues. We have the best council I've ever seen, and I mean that. We have a wide array of character and skills, and they all love every bit of Fairfield, every corner. They love our businesses. Many of them you see at and have seen at chamber events over the years, and even our new folks that way. It's just a real honor. And I know it was a surprise to a lot of people. It was a little bit of a surprise to me that we were able to get done what I wanted to get done, and that was to be the mayor of Fairfield. But we are forward now, very forward thinking. We are in a really good place. Fairfield right now is probably one of the most financially stable cities in the county. We have a very good reserve that we set a long time ago, and everything that we've aimed at doing that has been to keep that. Now we know we are going into maybe some uncharted waters economically, but we're ready for that as well. We have a brand new city manager. He was sworn in the day that I was sworn in. Or actually his contract was, we voted on it that day. And we have, call us the OGs, that would be me and Vice Mayor Bertani. And then of course, Rick Vaccaro, who's been big with the business community along with his wife. And then, the voters brought to us and gave back to us the great Doris Panduro, who's always involved with the chamber. And also we got some new folks, Doug, who works a lot, but he's already making big changes in District 3. And he is a great thinker, and he has some skills that are going to help us address the homelessness issue, which is really at the root of it, mental illness and drug addiction. Mostly that's what you see on the folks that live literally on the streets. Now, and then of course we have Scott Tonneson, who joined us a couple years ago, and he came in swinging and is doing a great job in the downtown area. You're going to see a lot of changes over the next year or two. Down in the downtown area, we're serious. We're serious about our businesses. We're serious about retention of businesses. And how do we do that? I think that's the question. We know we have lost some businesses because of the out of control homelessness. We know that. We also know that crime makes it very difficult for some businesses to operate. Now, I've talked with businesses. This is where I spend all my money. I don't run to Napa and stuff like others do. I just don't do it. I shop at Ross's in Fairfield, and so and downtown and elsewhere. But the bottom line is that we have to figure a way to really staunch these people who are on drugs and moving into and are mentally ill. And this is something that's across the United States, but especially here in the Bay Area. we get influenced greatly by San Francisco, which just yesterday closed a very nice grocery because there was too much theft. So we have a whole group of things that this council is working on. And in fact, tomorrow, I see Councilman Tonneson is here. He will be joining me and several others, and we're going up for legislative days. And we're going to be addressing things like, I've already sent a letter about an update on Proposition 47. Proposition 47, as you all know, has caused a lot of heartache for businesses. This is the one that says you can steal pretty much anything under $950 and you're not going to be convicted of anything. You may get a citation, you may not. So we're pushing on that. I've written a letter already on some legislation that is pending. And because 47 was voted on by the people, what's going to happen is if the legislature approves it, then it'll go on the ballot. And then we're going to have to go to work, including help from the chamber and everybody here in the business area, to make sure that we vote on this properly, because 47 was a nightmare. It's caused just all kinds of things. It dropped things that were felonies down to misdemeanors, which is why you see a lot of times folks saying, oh, how come he can use drugs out in the open like that, or even sell small? I mean, how is that? Well, we voted for it. And so we have to be very careful. That's education. So anyway, I want to talk about back to the public safety. When I was running, I said that I wanted to add more police officers. We have not had an increase in police officers. Really, we have less now than we did in 2010, which was right after the Great Recession. And we lost police officers, 16 of them, and 16 positions. Our population, as you know, has grown greatly since then, and we do not have the officers to cover as we grow out into the Northeast area, and and take care of businesses and take care of people every day. So I really have been pushing for this. I've talked to the chief and of course the city manager about how we can afford this. I thought that I was told early on that we had money to pay for these officers in a settlement that we got. I was told is $1 million a year. It wasn't. It's $1 million, I think, overall. But the bottom line is, I believe there's money there, and I believe the city council knows very much and believes very much. We know this, that law and order are important for our society and especially our city. And so we are very focused on it. And I'll continue, and our council will continue on the legislative side too, because those things must be changed. We, as far as public safety here, we're also, as you may have read, the council and I are doing a citywide tour. Why are we doing that? Well, we want to go to every corner of the city and tell people and bring government to them. We want to get people involved. More people are involved and invested, the more they're going to be invested in the city itself, doing well. And so that to me is one way of us doing it. So we're going to do that over the next 6 months. I missed the very first one because I had COVID and it was brutal for about a month. And so I'm just gotten over it. But I understand that it was pretty well attended. There were like 15 people, but 10 of them were more newer. And that's more than we ever get at a city council meeting unless there's something very intense going on. So I thought that was pretty good. We hope to step that up some. As far as, so we're going to do that. And we also, I'm going to reach out to the businesses in the 3rd district and bring them flyers. So they'll come hopefully at the next one, which is a couple weeks away. And that reaching out to businesses, talking to businesses, talking to business people who want to bring businesses, is one of the ways that my colleagues have done a very good job. And I will do a lot more of it, show up for the ribbon cuttings and do those things. It's important. That's how we connect. So I'm really, really proud of that. The other thing is I want to talk about what else we're doing for businesses here. One of the big problems that we're having in Fairfield, in fact, we lost a huge business about a month ago. It was a high-tech business, very high-tech. And they came here and they were ready to go and pulled a plug, but then they found out that PG&E could not electrify them. And we're having that problem. For instance, our new BMW dealership, that they're opening up here. It's not a new BMW, but the new spot. They had to get some generators, from what I understand. I'm not sure if it all got settled, but because PG&E is having a hard time, we're having this across the board. We're having it on trying to get lights up out in the Cement Hill area and the out there. And we're having problems with PG&E. Now we've gone to Senator Dodd and we've asked for help here. It's not just us. It's really a problem throughout the state. And as we try to get more electrified, right now we don't have the electricity to do even our new big businesses here. So we all need to understand that. It's critical. So one of the things that we're looking at right now is we are considering working with the sewer district, which our council sits on, and with a high-tech firm that is here in Fairfield already, but they're world-renowned, to build some infrastructure, like a peaker plant, if you will, make our own electricity out of the methane and so on out of the sewer district. And this is going to help, bolster our PG&E, electrification, so we're not so dependent on PG&E. And it's not a long shot. It's something that we're seriously looking at right now. And it's really exciting. But it's going to take a lot of technical work, of course, engineers and all that, but it's something that's super important. And we're thinking about it right now because we can't go on this way. And we also have to make sure, our biggest employer, Travis Air Force Base, we have to make sure that they have the infrastructure they need. Electricity is important to them too, and water and roads, all kinds of things that we need, and big affordable housing for our airmen. And I talk every week to the city manager about where are we on this stuff? What are we doing with this? Where can we push? How can I help? And this is something that we can't have the NIMBYism, because we're going to build somehow, it looks like, some affordable housing for the airmen. We have airmen that travel up north and don't live here in Fairfield or Vacaville or even our county because they can't afford to. That's not okay. They are the backbone of the largest airlift really in the world. And we are key. Travis, as you know, I'm preaching to the choir. Travis is so important, 2.6 billion to the whole area, and internationally and nationally, we're the ones. And so, like I said when I was campaigning, and I still say it, and I will never stop, Fairfield is really one of the most powerful cities in the world. Travis is in our jurisdiction, actually in our city limits, and we need to start acting like it and stop acting like we're some, don't let other people decide who we are. We are going to turn things around. We're in a little deep here with some things, for instance, the homelessness, okay? And the other things that affect all of us in California. California is not an easy state to thrive in, especially now. And in the last 10, 20 years, it's become more difficult for businesses, the overregulation. And so those are all things that we look at too. I look at, we recently reduced some fees on businesses because, we need you. You feed us, you clothe us, you put money back into our economy so we can fix the roads and everything else. I mean, you know how it works because you write the checks. Luckily, I was raised in a small business environment here in Fairfield. My mom has started one of the oldest bookkeeping groups here in the 50s. And she was one of the first businesswomen that way. And the business is still running under a different name now. My mom's passed away and so on. But this is how I was raised. So I think like that. And of course, I was married to a businessman. And so I am always thinking on the front, what can I do? What can I do to make it better? And we have great staff people who are also always thinking this. They're always thinking about it. And we, I think that we are forward-thinking team, and we look at it holistic. We have to look at the whole thing. We have to look at public safety. We have to look at schools and work together. We have several of our council members sit on, and I do on a school, like a school committee is what it is. And we meet regularly to discuss these things, and we have relationships with that. So, all those things are important to keep the cog running and us moving smoothly. I expect that, Vacaville's doing a great job and a great job up there with their high tech. The mayor there and I are working very closely together. We like to tease each other because there's a little competition. I'm not going to lie. But he and I tease each other and help each other, as do the other mayors in this county. We figure if it's something good for the county, it's something good for us. But I'm a little selfish because I really want it all for us. I mean, I want Fairfield to be the shining light. As you guys know, I was born and raised here, and I love it. And I have there's 4 of us on the council, a majority who were raised in Fairfield. So there's a different kind of love. I'm not going to say it's more, because I'll tell you the others love it just as much. But we are unique, and we're going to do big things, and we're going to continue to lead on homelessness. Some good news, I don't know if you saw this on the homelessness front, is that we have our homeless intervention team, of course, and they have, in the last year, they returned 33 people who were living on the streets to families. And how does that work? We don't just put them on a bus and say adios. What we do is we work with these people out on the streets. We take it to them and speak to them, and they build relationships. And after a while, they'll find out that they might have a parent or a sister or brother somewhere, a cousin. And then our officers speak with them and see if it's a possibility to get them off the streets, and knowing if they may have addictions or mental illness. Many times that's true. And the families will decide that they would like to have their family member back and help them out. 33 of them last year. That's a lot. That's about 10% of the homeless people in Fairfield. We figure there were about 300. We don't just figure, we actually keep very close stats. We know most of them. Of course, you have an influx in and out, but we have about 300, and so about 10% of them went home. Then we follow up with them to make sure that they're getting social services or whatever they need, and that the family and everything's working out. So it's a real commitment by our city, and it's something that we're unique in. And it's of course, there's still 270 or 280 homeless folks out there. So what are we going to do about that? I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because I'm very aware of what happens with businesses that are confronted sometimes daily with folks who may be having a mental episode, if you will, or theft, because they boost stuff and then they sell it so they can get a hit of drugs on the street. We have all that. We have, naked people. It's very sad. It's inhumane. My heart bleeds literally for them. And we have folks that die on the streets. And so what in the next year, we're going to have a 60-bed rehab open in Fairfield. And we also know that the county has its small mental health facility that has some beds there. So we are utilizing that. We can with the, of course, we can't make the folks. I don't want to say it is part of the problem sometimes. People who can't take care of themselves and they need the help. But if they can say, no, I'm okay, then we can't take them. And so we're hoping that they will eventually, with us building up these relationships that they've been building for so long, with our officers and with our teams. We have the master social worker who goes out as well, that we can bring them in and get them the help they need before they succumb or cause more heartache in the city for themselves and for others. Now, the governor passed what's called care courts, and care courts will allow certain judges to make a finding that somebody certainly has to have somebody looking over all of their affairs and controlling the decisions. That'll be a game changer. The problem is that Solano County will not be getting a care court for at least a year, maybe a year and a half, could be two. We were not the first counties to be able to get it. And that has been that's disappointing, because we need that tool. So we understand that, because we live here, all of us do, obviously, and we shop here, we do these things and talk to business, we get it. So one of the things that Jared doesn't know that I'm going to task him with is that, actually, he kind of knows that what I want to do is, through the chamber, I want businesses to get signed up for our business watch. What's business watch? It's just like neighborhood watch. And we have already started on North Texas, which Jared knows about, and some downtown. And we're going to keep moving. And along with that, we have a CAT team, not named after me, sadly, but it's a community action team. And they are doing a great job by educating businesses. This is how you do it when somebody comes into your place and starts wreaking havoc. And this is what you do. This is who you call. And these are the things that we do and you do. And we will remove, obviously, people who are causing problems in businesses. But I mean, the horror stories I've heard, but I really think that this business watch is something that all businesses that have a storefront or have any access to the public should be involved with, because you will be connected to the other businesses that are around you. So if you get in any, you can call down and say, or text and say, hey, so-and-so's coming down and he looks like he's on one, or whatever. Having that communication is what's most important. That's how we stay a community. And I know during the pandemic, we all kind of went into we had to get into our little silos. We have to stop that now. And we have to be active. And it's important that just like neighborhood watches, I'm stepping that up again. We're going to spread out and do some more, especially in areas of the town that have kind of been ignored. And it's hard sometimes to get neighborhood watches going. But that's what Jared and I are going to work on, aren't we, Jared? Yes. Okay. So let's see if I have anything else before I just can open it up to you guys, because I'm happy to answer any and all of your questions. I sit on the Solano Economic Development Corporation board now too. That's something brand new as mayor. Some of these things that I'm doing is for the first time because the mayor does that, sits there or has to represent over here. So some of these things I'm doing for the first time, and it's the information download is pretty intense. It's a good thing that I'm a policy wonk and I love it. I love studying. I'm very curious and I'm always asking questions. And I dig and dig and dig and stuff. And that comes from my 2 decades as a journalist, I guess. Actually, no, that's a lie. My mom said I was always nosy. So, so I love learning new things. And this has been kind of resuscitated me and my service and my public service. I knew that it was the end, that I would not run for city council anymore. I was on there for 14 years. That's a long time. And my husband and I decided, nope, it's time for some new blood there. And we got a great guy. And so if we don't make mayor, then it's good. We'll go out and work in the community in another way. So I appreciate the support of actually a lot of you. And I appreciate everything that you do for our community. And there's a reason why you're across the street from City Hall, the Chamber of Commerce. It's important. It's important for a city to have a strong chamber. So we're all about that. And I'm here for any of your needs. I may not have an answer, but I know I have somebody smart somewhere in the 600 people that work for us that has one. So I will answer your questions now.
Ma'am, this is Susan LeBrecq again. I just again want to thank you. I'm glad that you tasked Jared. That's kind of funny, but because I was going to say to you that please use the chamber specifically. I'm going to say the Advocacy Council. Not only do we advocate for our members based on needs of our members of businesses, but we also are there to educate them on different things like Prop 47. If we need to get some information out to them, like PG&E, I had no idea there was some issues there. So making us aware, specifically the Advocacy Council, we can help advocate for the community as well.
Perfect. That is great. And I know you do a lot of educating and informing. And I know that, some of a lot of our businesses, most of our people in Fairfield do not know that we've been struggling with PG&E, but it's not just us. I've been reading in the, the Business Times and so on, that businesses throughout the Bay Area it's a super struggle and it's a real threat. And for instance, right now we're working with Congressman Garamendi on getting money for electrifying our bus service. I said, well, I'm thinking what I'd rather have you do is find out how we can just get a lot more electricity first, because we can't even get our businesses open. As soon as they asked us, this business, which left the state, by the way, as soon as they asked us who provides our electricity, the city manager said they basically just stood up and said, okay, never mind, thank you, bye. No, I'm not doing it. They can't do it for us. And it's like, wow, really? So yeah, there's a lot of things like that. I don't know, maybe, I've thought about putting together like not a newsletter. Well, maybe it would be, but just a thing, letting everybody know these kind of things that you don't really talk about in a meeting until it comes right up to when you got a project, right? But these are things that are affecting all of us. And it's affecting our business community, and it is scary. So yes, thank you for the offer to help spread the word here with the chamber.
Definitely. And now we're going to open up for questions. And I know at least one person, Monty, will have a question.
Okay,
Monty, that's funny.
Monty.
What do you need? Oh, you're sweet.
Catherine, thank you for joining us today. You hit on a lot of bullet points that I think a lot of our businesses are concerned with here in not just in Fairfield, but in Solano County in general.
Yeah.
I appreciate you focusing on those challenges that we have as businesses and trying to rectify those things. I think for myself, and I think I speak for a few other business people in the community, you know, like you, I wasn't born here, but darn near.
Yeah.
And I was born in California, obviously, but the biggest thing that I see that is really creating not just not having the power to generate for businesses to operate out of here, but you know, like I said, you mentioned all the different buzzwords, the problems, the homeless, crime, regulations, all these things. And I think the thing that really concerns us is there's no accountability for, and I don't care whether it's at the federal level, the state level, the county level, the city level. I mean, there is an unbelievable amount of money, of the taxpayers' money, that's going towards these issues and these problems that you mentioned and we're all aware of and have been for some time. And those problems aren't going away. They're not getting any better. You yourself have stood on the council for 14 years. So you've seen it get worse.
Yep.
There's more money being thrown at it. My contention is all we're doing is putting some Band-Aids on a sore spot, and we're not getting to the root cause of the problem. And I really truly believe until we turn our attention and a larger percentage of the funds go to the root cause, and that's family and our youth. It's going to start there. It's going to start there. And, you know, we've lost a whole generation because of this. And we need a paradigm shift. We need to start focusing these funds more in our youth programs and to educate, to give them other things to do. It's proven. You ask your chief of police of any city, will tell you, you focus on your youth, they're less likely to be truants. You get them educated, you give them other extracurricular activities, they're going to not end up in jail. They're not going to end up homeless, or less likely. The percentages show that. But it seems to me we're focused, you know, and I talk to a group of people, I say, hey, go home and Google how much money us taxpayers here in California spend on the homeless problem. It's mind-boggling. But yet the problem continues to get worse. And that's what I said. It's time to start shifting some of those resources and those funds towards our youth programs. It's really, it's sad that our police and our business community, not so much here in Fairfield, but nationally, I believe, we're the bad guys. You know, when did that happen? When did we become the bad guys? Because if you don't have economic development and you don't have safety provided by your policing staff, you don't have a community.
That's right.
Those are the two base core things that are needed for a community to thrive. So that's myself as a business, as a representative of the chamber, and have been for years, and this community. That's what I want to see our leaders do. I want to see our leaders realize that, hey, if we don't have the business community, we don't have the police, so we have economics and safety. That's where it starts. and then we support our youth programs and focus on our youth. These other things that we're spending billions of dollars on they're not going to go away. We're just going to keep, 20 years from now, we'll still be talking about it.
Monty, you've hit the nail on the head. You're correct. I've been on the council for 14 years. While I was able to personally help some people get out of homelessness and help some youth, we got worse in this city under my watch. How did that happen? Well, I'm not going to make any kind of excuses, but when you talk about getting down to the root of the problem, we don't do that with homelessness in this country. This is one of the things that I'm talking to Congressman Garamendi about, and I hope to get the ear of a senator, but probably not, but maybe staff. And we have, it started in George W. Bush's time, and that was what is called Housing First. Now, Housing First, there's the good part about it, the great thing about it is that you take, in order to get HUD money, you have to be housing first, okay? What does that mean? Housing first means that you take people how they are, a good thing, and you bring them into services and you help them as if they want to. Here's the bad part. They are allowed to keep using drugs if they're drug addicted. They do not have to get any mental health care if they're mentally ill. And Housing First forces this. I was telling a gentleman the other day, it's stunning. So you wonder what in the heck? And then our state doubled down on it, Housing First. Now, one of the most successful right now, homeless, I guess, nonprofit, let's say, is in Vacaville. Vacaville's is not Housing First. They were cut off, as you probably know, Monty, because they would not allow people to use drugs in there.
Correct.
What happened? So we're not getting at the root. What we're doing is we've built what I call a homeless industrial complex. So we pour billions of dollars in. People are getting money on it. But where are we going? Hey, we had a guy, 2 people die at our shelter down here in Fairfield this last year. They OD'd. And we have more calls to that center because people are fighting, because they're on drugs, than any other place in this city, except for one of the home care homes. So you talk about wasting money because we haven't said you have to get some help. And if we don't change it, Monty, we're going to keep spilling billions. And people keep saying, oh, this really gets me, that part. And so you're right. If we don't get at it, and we're losing them. Look at down in San Francisco, biggest Housing First market. Those people are dying with needles in their arms every day, or smoking stuff. And you put them into a housing place, they get to go in there loaded. I'm so passionate about this that we have to stop that. We have to stop Housing First. If some people want to use it, fine, but it can't be the only way. People are individuals. HUD says you must do it this way. No. When we took care of people down here, I'll tell you, 98% of them who we checked in to have their house were either using drugs, even if they had kids, and or they self-identified as having mental illness. So what do? We ask them, you want to get off the drugs? Yes, we get them going. We had psychiatrists come in regularly, and then we got them into their healthcare systems and took them to Kaiser or wherever. And I'm telling you, it was amazing. I had one lady who came in there, Monty, who was so mentally ill and drug addicted that she would howl all night. She would go out her apartment. It broke my heart. And then she would cry for me. So of course I go over at 2 a.m. I was the only one. Anyway, the bottom line is that woman, because we were patient with her, after 2.5 years, Monty, she works now full time and she takes care of herself in her apartment. But if I let her stay off her meds, if I allowed her to continue using her drugs, she wouldn't be there. She'd probably be dead now. So you're right, Monty. Now, as far as the children, of course, we know that's where to get them. The good news is that we on North Texas Street, where the bowling alley used to be, as you know, Monty, we are building a whole mini civic center that's made for youth only. It's youth. We're putting fields out there. We're going to have First Five is going to be the big anchor inside there. And it's, it's a small center for that. And then right down the way, we have our new PAL Center, which, boy, if you guys have an extra few bucks, we could throw it that way to that nonprofit, because we want that thing really up and roaring. It's doing the work, but we still have a way to go. And 2 weeks ago, I was contacted by somebody who's looking at opening a Boys and Girls Club here in Fairfield. So I see some good things that way. One of the big things that I love to do is to go to the schools where we have folks who are challenged economically. And I spend time there with the kids and the teachers, and just hang out with them a lot of times. And then, I don't know if you know this, but we have a great church. I know you guys probably know it, Sam Morris, and they have a child care there that's free for people who cannot afford it. And the kids from David Weir, and I go there when they don't have parents to pick them up. We have one of the big things that I didn't mention. Oh, things keep popping in my head. We have a child care issue. People cannot work.
Maybe go to work.
Right, because they can't afford childcare. And the city manager and I are looking at some things that we'll talk with our council about on that. We need to step it up. And I hate that government has to be the answer. I don't think it does. I think business is the answer. That's what I believe. I'm a small government person. I don't like government telling businesses or people what to do. However, I'm also very much a law and order person. And the messes that I see on our street, no, we're going to clean this all up. And we're already working on it. I'm just so proud of this council and our staff. I just can't tell you, I'm overwhelmed with them. And I feel real hope on these things that you're talking about, Monty, on things that really matter, and that we have to get at the root and build. Otherwise, if we don't have that structure like you're talking about with the young people, and if we don't get these other folks and get at the root causes of what's causing their issues, then we're done for. So we have to do that. Like I tell people about the housing first thing, I said, so, I had cancer in 2013. And I said, people who are sick, if somebody said, I'm going to put you in a house, there you go. And we're going to see you. I don't know, maybe somebody will come in once a week or something. I wouldn't have healed. I needed help. I would have died in there. And that's what we're doing to these people. We're letting them die that way. One of the biggest, I just did this research, like I told you, I'm nosy. The biggest causes of death for people who are in housing first facilities is overdose. Because we allow them to do it. And I know for people who are addicted, it has to be their choice. It has to be their choice, or they're not going to do it. But sometimes it just takes a lot of talking. It takes patience. I know that. Monty, you did work over at Heather House. You know that. It takes patience. And thank the Lord, we have very patient people who work in Fairfield and our cities around us. Vacaville's a great city, Suisun City. So I have hope. I have real hope. But Monty, I'm going to ask you to keep me on task. If you think, I'm slowing down, getting in the mud, I need you guys to tell me. And if you have ideas, please, there are only 7 of us. We're 7 people just like you. We're citizens who love the area, but we need any bit of help that you can give us. Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Yeah,
for-
Susan, this is Kathy Lago. Thank you, Mayor. Kathy Lago with Solano Family and Children's Services.
Hi, Kathy.
Absolutely happy to meet with you to talk about childcare.
Oh,
We
good.
absolutely have a capacity issue ever since COVID, even before COVID.
Yes.
There wasn't enough childcare for all the families that needed it. There are a great amount of subsidies that have come into our county due to COVID and pandemic release of some funds, which won't last forever.
Right.
So families who are low income working individuals
Yes.
are now qualifying and getting off a waiting list that used to be 2,000 children long. We've emptied that waiting list twice during this last
Wow.
year. And that's part of the government part. Yep, help people get some childcare, because a little bit of funding to pay for your childcare allows you to go to work,
Yes.
become, successful. And I'm always sitting on these meetings to remind people that one of your businesses in your community absolutely are licensed family childcare providers and our childcare centers. And I will say that the city of Fairfield has been one of the most willing to work with people to open up childcare centers and allow family childcare homes increase to a large family childcare, because many times cities put out the notice in a neighborhood and families think, oh no, there's going to be too much traffic, it's going to be awful, the kids are going to be loud. And it's really just means that someone can have as many as 14 kids, and that's not all the time. And so the city of Fairfield a long time ago agreed that they would not require that permit process. And I don't think that's been an issue for people. It's nice to have childcare in your neighborhood. It's nice to have a walkable community if you can make it such, as close as can be. So yeah, and I agree with you, Monty. Prevention. $1 spent on a child saves $7 down the road. I think about when you talk about police, there used to be this great advocacy group, Cops for Kids, because police know that if you get these families early and support them, there's lots of opportunities to make a change in a child's life. And if you give one child one strong adult in their life, it's going to make a difference. Childcare is a child abuse prevention tool. It's a help for families and parents. So yeah, let's support the early intervention that we can do. I know we need to take care of the people who are in it now, but if we can help in any way and share data or information, please let us know.
Kathy, thank you so much. That is great information that you gave about clearing out your waiting list. I know that obviously it's probably grown again, right? But yes, we will. I will be contacting you to have a meeting, and we'll work together and get some ideas from you. And yes, we do support. We try to support all of our small businesses, but that's one of those things where, a city can decide whether we are going to lift some of those restrictions. And I don't think in 14 years that I ever got one call from anybody complaining about a child care center. Not ever, not once. No. So thank you for that.
Any other comments, questions for the mayor?
I have a comment, if you don't mind, and I'm not part of your chamber. I'm a private citizen. I do have a business here in the city of Fairfield that deals with public safety. I'm an involved community member. If you don't mind, I'd like to take a minute about the homeless topic. I know Kat's been involved in the past quite heavily in homeless. She does have concerns, but the city has involvement in 2 active members on the CAP Solano and the reformation. There's a lot of work being done there. My daughter's heavily involved. She's also chair of the tripartite, and now an active member as a new city council member in Suisun. There's a lot of new information. The chronic homeless and the mentally ill are a problem, but there's so many other homeless members of our community that are just a step away, a paycheck away, or need minor help. To lump them all into one category is a shame.
Mhm.
That let the members of your team work with them or pull your city out of the cap. And then go with your turn. If you don't believe in the cap, Solano, or get the current information. Heather House has been gone for a long time. Your experiences there were horrible. And I agree that you were treated horribly. But the new method, we got to give it a try. The pallet shelters are working. They're going to come online. That's going to give some isolated people with bad criminal histories a chance to have some homeless problem. But that's not for everybody. You can't put those people in with those child molesters. So those people are those people. We've got to get the other people out of the streets. The other thing, the business community, we've got to start reducing fees for those special events and stuff. $300-400 for a booth in downtown doesn't help the small business. You know, we've got to start creating incentives and get those businesses out there. You know, every time we have an event in downtown Fairfield, it costs somebody $500 for a one-day permit. You know, how's that increasing it? That ARPA money that we put into the general fund should have been for marketing for small businesses in downtown Fairfield, right? I think that the chamber would have been a good beneficiary to be able to partner with and figure out how we can market downtown Fairfield with some of that one-time money instead of general fund. So you weren't in control then, you are now. Maybe we could squirrel some of that money back out of the general fund and put it to good use in that downtown quarter. We did a thing that we wanted to paint or decorate all those abandoned buildings, right? But I haven't seen one mural on those boards. I've seen graffiti on them. So those are my suggestions. I love Fairfield. We grew up together.
Yeah.
We're out there every night.
Yep.
We're supporting businesses with our car clubs. We're not out cruising. We're out dining in those restaurants and bringing our pride back to Fairfield.
Yes.
So we
Yeah,
love you
Joe
all.
and I known each
We were out
other.
at Jelly Belly last Saturday. We
That
had
was awesome.
the biggest single one-day crowd out of Jelly Belly. And our community was out there, all colors, all races. And we invited everybody out there and everybody that you guys attended. We thanked you for being out there. We'll be out in Suisun on May 6th for Cinco de Mayo. We'd love to show you guys how we support small businesses. We'll have over 100 vendors there. Juneteenth, we'll have over 300 free vendors. That's how we support small businesses in our community. So thank you for your time. And Mayor Moy, the best of luck.
Thanks, Joe. I wanted to answer your question, I think, about the 2x2. I totally support us working together with it throughout the county. It's you can't do it any other way. Like I talked about earlier, silos are you're not going to get anywhere doing that. And I think it is a great move. What I didn't like about that at first was that the meetings were closed. They were secret. And so the public couldn't go. So I opposed that. But I kept our two appointees that Mayor Price appointed. I decided to keep those on there so we could have it could be smooth, not to disrupt anything, because I think they're doing very good work there. And your daughter and I have known each other for a long time, and she does really good work. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you bringing it up and letting me clarify that with you if that was any kind of an issue. We absolutely support in the city of Fairfield the 2x2 and have led on it, actually. So yeah.
No, I agree with you. I just thought that you were opposed to, and I understand the housing first. I don't 100% agree with it either. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't just the the mentally ill and the others that you
Oh,
were targeting.
absolutely. Absolutely not. We have 1,500 children, school
Correct.
children in this county who are homeless.
I have a
Not drug
60-year-old,
addicts.
yeah, and I have a 60-year-old sister that suffers still to this day homelessness, and we have all the resources in the world to provide for her. She chooses not to.
Yes, that's the rub. Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you, and I appreciate you guys' time today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, I want to respect everybody's time. We have 3 minutes, and if you don't mind, Mayor, if we could invite you back in 6 months,
Absolutely.
and then we could just, continue this conversation. And if there's any new information, and of course, we'll be working prior to, those 6 months. But as you tasked Jared already, which is great, so definitely. But I'm going to allow one more question or one more comment, and then we'll close out. And again, appreciate you, Mayor. Love your passion.
Thank
It's
you.
definitely there.
Hi there, Mayor
Okay.
Catmoy, Brian Pastor. I had a quick question.
Sure.
As a veteran and a new Fairfield resident, I frequent Travis a lot. I was unaware of the affordable housing, and we had airmen traveling from Sacramento. How do I get in contact with folks to help them out, so they don't have to drive an hour to get to Travis?
Right.
Is there a point of contact that can be shared offline?
Yes, yes. And
who I
I
could
owe
reach
you
out to?
a meeting, so we'll get together. Okay.
We
Yeah.
got to do
I've
lunch.
I've been sick since you and I met. That's when right after that is when I got the COVID.
Oh no! Oh, I was safe.
So I'll be in touch with you, Brian. And yes, we'll get in touch and also talk with others about it so we can figure something out. We
Yeah,
need
can I add
to-
something?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd
Brian,
like to add something there. I'm also an active reservist and very involved with Travis, but I'd love to invite you to the Travis Regional Armed Forces Committee meeting.
that's
Yes,
what I was gonna say.
And we will, Jared, is that what you were gonna say, Jared? If you could send him the
too.
information, I would love for him to be a guest of ours.
Great. Is that Susan that said that?
Yeah,
Yeah, Susan,
absolutely,
but Jared
Brian.
will,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks. Connect us.
Yeah,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Susan.
The chamber
Thanks,
has
Jared.
an association called the Travis Regional Armed Forces Committee, and it can help to bridge some connections for you.
Great.
That's awesome.
Breaks my heart to
Yeah,
hear
Brian,
people
that'd be
driving
good
far.
for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
All righty, well,
I'm proud to say that I sold a real estate investment that I've had here in Fairfield for years to an airman at Travis Air Force Base. It's his first home of his own. He's only 24 years old and went through the VA loan program to get it. And it just has really made me feel very good to be able to provide a first home to a young veteran like that. That is really, I mean, the excitement he had was incredible. So
yeah,
That's so great.
it is awesome. It is.
all right.
Every little thing really does count. And, our veterans, our current folks who are working in the military. I mean, I was born into Team Travis, so, I'm kind of biased, but oh well.
Awesome. We're at the top of the hour, so thank you again, ma'am. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Susan, and I'll
Very
come back.
valuable.
We'll be
Definitely,
in
we'll
touch,
invite you.
Jared.
Thank you. All
Thank
right,
you,
bye-bye.
Mayor. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. Have a
Bye-bye.
good day.
You as well.
Bye.